I'm Carrie Peters, a recognized thought leader in the Microsoft Dynamics community and a Microsoft MVP for business applications. Welcome to the Get Your New View podcast. Keep listening to learn how we work with frustrated Business Central and NAV users who struggle to use their system and find the answers they need. We teach them to truly understand how the system can support their business processes to make immediate and lasting improvements. As a result, they get more done in less time, make better business decisions, and even love their system. In this season of the Get Your New View podcast, we will be talking with you all about training. This episode, we're talking about a new type of training called drip training. So, why do we call this training drip training? The concept is that this is in much smaller doses than regular training. So we may be used to attending a full week class or a full day class or a 1 hour video training. This type of training is breaking this into much smaller, repeatable segments. And I really like this as a concept because this addresses the problem of lower attention spans and the need for higher repetition in order to retain the information that we've learned. I actually took a class myself about a year or so ago that used this technique, and the class was held over a month. And I was incredibly impressed with the techniques that they used to infuse the learning of the topic that we had in small doses daily over time. And there was a good amount of repetition where, of course, it wasn't exactly the same, but it was very similar. So when I think about some of the challenges that we have with training our employees, especially about a thrilling topic like ERP software, I think that this would be a great technique to see more often out there in the training world. This is something we're just rolling out ourselves with a couple of our different classes, and we've been incorporating into our custom training quite a bit, and it's really making a big difference. One of the big differences is that it lowers the amount of classroom time that is required. So instead of having people's schedules hung up by, for example, being in class for an entire week, or even for an entire day, or an entire hour, this allows them to do a little bit more self-scheduling of what they're doing, or they can squeeze it in between things, or do it off hours. So there's a little bit more flexibility in this kind of training that I think is really working for people. One of the elements that is included in this type of training is there's a lot more hands-on time. If you think about it, by reducing all of that time, the biggest thing that we have reduced is the amount of lecture that people are engaging in, which is great because lecture is very challenging for adult learners. It's hard to pay attention for that long period of time. We are constantly distracted by things that might pull us away from the lecture, and we've got so many competing priorities. So when we think about drip training, what that could look like, let me tell you a couple of examples that I've seen and examples that we're incorporating into our training now that are making a big difference. Certainly, homework is a good example. Now, this concept isn't new. We've all had homework as kids, or our kids have had homework. Having assignments to complete related to what we're learning, though, results in the ultimate practice vehicle. So we can practice what it is we've learned. So we might read something, we might watch a short video, and if we have homework where we either need to reflect on what we've learned or maybe write about what we have learned, if we need to accomplish some steps in our system to practice what we have learned, homework and problem solving is a big piece of this. I mentioned short video segments. They really need to be quite short, less than 15 minutes, less than 10 minutes, less than 5 minutes. anything that is just a quick infusion of information that can prompt thinking. So short video segments is a great way to do this, as long as it is accompanied with activities that then allow us to practice what we learned in that short video. Something that I thought was incredibly effective in the training that I attended a year ago as I was learning more about this technique was the role of peer discussion. We spent quite a bit of time working with members of our peer group to solve problems. So we were given a particular case study that illustrated some of the points of what we were learning. And with a group of 3 or 4 people, we had to engage in debate and in writing a collaborative piece that would communicate back what we had learned and how we might apply this. The process of that active debate with my peers was absolutely incredible, because it certainly opened me up to different viewpoints, and it made me articulate myself more clearly to make an argument for my thoughts with what I was learning. And the collective effort of putting that together in a way that could be persuasive to someone else was an excellent way to apply that information. So that's certainly very different than what we're seeing in a traditional lecture-based learning. One of the other techniques that I've seen that is in this category is training by text. I don't know if you've had a chance to participate in something like this yet, but I have, and in fact, we're writing this into some of our courses as I'm shooting this particular episode. But providing training by text. Small micro prompts that are delivered to you by text on your phone. They could be at a set time, they could be at random times, but all of them are designed to invoke thought while conveying some small piece of information and then asking for engagement back. The micro delivery of this particular piece of learning is the thing that's making it successful, and the fact that those texts will tie in back with each other is again another way to repeat information and to allow us to practice, even if it's just thinking about the thing that we're learning. So anytime that we see anything that gives us more opportunity for practice and repetition of that practice, we know that we're going to be successful. I'm really impressed with some of these newer techniques that we're seeing, because it seems much more well-suited for adult learners than some of the traditional methods that we've seen in the past. I'd encourage you to think about that. Your action for this week: walk through the topics that you'd like to receive training for. Maybe it's for yourself, maybe it's for your team. How would they break down if they were detailed out much more granularly? So instead of those high-level topics, how could that be broken down in a more granular way? Talk to your training company about how they can do something like this for you. I think you'll be very pleased with the results. Our next episode, we're going to talk about documentation and the power of documentation along with training. I'm Carrie Peters. Thank you for tuning in to the Get Your New View podcast. For more episodes like this on YouTube, click the subscribe button and ring the bell to ensure that you get notified whenever new content comes out. If you're listening to the audio podcast, please share an honest review on Apple Podcasts. If you are ready to rethink today for tomorrow, look for the link below and contact us to speak with our expert team. You won't find the level of no-nonsense, real-world experience we offer anywhere else, and we're here to put that experience to work for you. Do you think you could use more features of your software if you just knew how? Are you frustrated with inefficiency that never seems to get better? Did your team ever really get good training to understand how to use your business software? Do you suspect that there just has to be a better way, but you don't know what that is? We believe every company can benefit from increased efficiency and higher utilization of their software, and that it's possible to have fun while learning exactly how to do that. The experts at NewView Strategies work with frustrated Business Central and NAV users who struggle to use their system and find the answers they need. We teach them to truly understand how the system can support their business processes to make immediate and lasting improvements. As a result, they get more done in less time, make better business decisions, and even love their system. Please contact us at getyournewview